Now let's talk about autoconfigure for a second, this button. What I did is I created a series of screens. When you press it, you'll see it, a series of screens, and the server itself checks the installation, how well it's actually installed, and if it's ready to run. Now, in order for the server to run correctly and be able to send and receive your messages, it needs a few things. First of all, what the first check is, it checks that no other server exists on the ports that it's going to occupy. For example, it binds itself to port 25, just one example, and it binds itself to port 110. Now, when it binds itself to these ports, it needs to know that no other server is actually running on these ports. If there is other software that you installed that runs on these ports, other software, my software, will not be able to start. So this portion is going to check for that, and it's going to show you which port is taken and by which executable. And you'll have to stop this executable or uninstall it, or pause it, whatever your choice may be. Now, in this case, it shows that ports are free and clear because it sits on my computer and it's already set up. The next portion is going to download and recognize your external IP address. This is my external IP address, and my reverse DNS from TechSavvy, my ISP, my provider is TechSavvy. And this makes this into hello string. The hello string is the way that SMTP server greets other SMTP servers. And many other target SMTP servers, if you send in message, for example, to Yahoo or to Gmail, they will check that this IP, this name, actually resolves to this IP. And some of them might check that this IP resolves back to this name. And if they don't match, there's a high chance that your message will be rejected. That's why this wizard will help you find out your reverse DNS. Now, it also does give you a list of default RBL servers. RBL servers, I'm going to cover it in a separate video, but those are, this is called real-time blacklist or real-time block list, sometimes they are called. And these servers will allow you to check for each incoming IP if it's blocked by these two servers or not. If it's blocked, there's a high chance that this is a spammer trying to connect to your server, and you should probably block it. Now, the next screen, and this obviously goes when this hello string is generated, it goes to here, right? This is your external IP. This goes to here, and your RBL servers will automatically end up here, right? Again, let's see. Now, the next one, the next check is going to verify that your IP, your own external IP, this is different from internal IP, is not already blacklisted in those two servers. If it's listed, then you have a problem and you have to go to them and delist your IP. I'll show it in details when I will be talking about RBL servers and setup of your server. Now, if it's not listed, we can continue. And the next item is going to check for connection. If you can connect on port 25 to my server that sits on the internet all the time. This is the test. Now, in many cases, what's going to happen is if you have just regular, consumer-based ISP, like Rogers or Cogeco or, I don't know, Verizon or something like that, most of them will actually block port 25 where all your SMTP traffic should be going. You cannot send on any other port if you want to deliver directly to the servers, to the target servers. And this port must be open in order for you to be able to send any email. Now, this checks for that. If your port is closed, you'll have to go and talk to your ISP to unblock it, to open it, or you can even change your ISP if you want. And Most of the smaller ISPs, they have this port unblocked. I'll cover it in more details when we will be talking about what you need to set up your server. And the next check is going to check if you have a static or dynamic IP. In my case, I have a dynamic IP, but I don't use this server for a lot of sending. I use it for testing. But in case you have a static IP, this will say you have a static IP. Now, I should point out this algorithm is empiric. It's not exact. What it does, I'll show you. It checks this name using the algorithm that a very popular program called Spam Assassin is using. Spam Assassin is installed on literally millions and millions of web hosts, and it's used to filter out spam, right? And they have an algorithm that determines by looking at this name if it's static or dynamic, right? If this algorithm thinks that you have a dynamic IP, even though if you have a static IP, even if you think you have a static IP, but this Spam Assassin algorithm thinks that you have a dynamic IP, then what's going to happen is everywhere you go where this Spam Assassin is installed, even though you actually have a static IP, the Spam Assassin will actually think that you have a dynamic IP and label your message accordingly. So you might start worrying about this. You need to create a reverse DNS. And I'll cover this in a very big detail when I talk about everything that you need to set up your server. Now, if you pass all these checks, that's about it. You passed all those checks, and we can close it, and we can continue working with the next screen. I'll show you the RBL servers next.